Hello, welcome to the Dealer to Healer podcast. I'm your host, Liam Browne. So happy for you all to join me. We've got another incredible guest on the show today. He is an Ashtanga yoga teacher. He's been teaching for like 20 odd years, so he's like a wealth of knowledge. Another Mancunian. We've got a lot of Mancunians on the show. I'm going to be branching out from Manchester soon, so don't worry if you're thinking, can't understand what the hell them people are saying. We're going to get some better spoken humans on the show at some point. So if this is your first time on the Dealer to Healer show, you've not listened to our other amazing interviews. We've got one with Stuart Pilkington, that was the first one. We got another one with Win Carter, an amazing story of battling with cancer for 20 years. So go and have a little listen to them as well. The show is all about transformation, about awakening, about reaching your fullest potential. So we're just trying to get stories of people and how they've changed their life around to be living a cleaner, better, more beautiful, loving, heart-centered life. So that is the premise of the show. Dealer to Healer is also a book that I've written, which is on Amazon at the moment. It's coming out today. If you're listening to this on the 11th of November 2019, my book is out today. Oh my God. I didn't know writing and self-publishing a book was going to be so hard. I always thought someone was just going to come in, step in, publish the book for me, and I could just sit there and, get all the royalties. But it's a lot different than that. And self-publishing is actually an amazing experience because I'm learning so much about the industry, about how to publish on Amazon, about business, about how you market yourself and algorithms and getting reviews. So it's like, it's a lot of work, but it's interesting. I could get really stressed and I could get really panicky. I've got a deadline, so I'm recording this about a week before this is being put out, and I'm just getting the final touches, the final edits, and it's kind of like, I guess, how it would be letting a child go. You've kind of nurtured them for 16, 20 years, and then you're kind of letting them go, and part of you is like, oh yeah, get my life back now. Another part is like, have I brought these people up properly to send them out into the world? Can they manage? Can they cope? And I'm kind of a little bit like this with my book. I'm like, there's just little mistakes and little errors, and I'm massively dyslexic, so picking stuff up is difficult for me. But I've got to at some point let it go. It's a piece of art. A piece of art is never finished. You can go on and you can actually destroy the art at some point. So I've just got to get it as perfect as possible. If there's any little mistakes, I'm dyslexic. No, that's no excuse. There's been professionals editing it, so don't worry. It's not a dyslexic book that you're going to have no way of fathoming. It's been professionally edited, but there's still little things that miss, and there's formatting issues on Kindle and Amazon and the paperback, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like intense. I'm spending like 4 hours in an evening just trying to like shift a letter to the right or something, and it's kind of like almost soul destroying. And I was on my knees last night in my office just crying, just going, oh my God, like when is this gonna be done? When is this baby gonna be let go and produced? So yeah, just masses and masses amounts of hard work and hours working away trying to get this book perfect, because it means so much to me, and it's so heartfelt, and it's very, very personal. So hopefully you can enjoy that and get over to Amazon. You can download it for free for the next 5 days. You can have it for free. Just please leave me a review if you do that. That can be our little deal, you know what I mean? I'll come after you if you don't. I'm only joking, but it'd be lovely if you could write me a review. Buy the book for free. If you want to get the print version, obviously that's not for free because I got to pay for it, but the print version's available. There's going to be an audio book available. So not only am I writing a book, self-publishing, self-marketing, self-publicizing, I'm doing a podcast, I'm also doing the audio book for the book. So it's just been non-stop and trying to fit in a little bit of paid work at the same time and teaching yoga. So it's every spare second is at my desk, either editing my podcast, editing my audiobook, recording, whatever. It's been intense. So yes, enough of that. Stories of transformation. My guest is an epic human being and a beautiful man, for cheeky Mancunian. He used to be a DJ. So let's go over to the interview. Enjoy. You to bless my soul. Hello guys, welcome to the Dealer to Healer podcast. I'm your host Liam Browne. We've got an amazing guest for you today. He's been practicing yoga for over 20 years. He's been teaching for 19 years. He's the founder. He set up Yoga Manchester, which is like an institution in the Manchester area, providing yoga classes all over the south of Manchester in places that a lot of teachers don't tend to reach. He's published an idiot's guide to setting up a yoga class, and he's also started a thing called Yoga Express and a London Yoga Express. So he's a pretty busy man now, and he's got a little invention called the Niji, which when you're practicing yoga, you put it behind your knee and it stops all them little pops and stuff happening. So here he is, Mr. Matt Ryan, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going?
It's going very well, thank you, Liam.
What are you up to, mate? How's it going?
I have just dropped my daughter off at school.
Yeah.
Because we're 8 hours behind you. I've just dropped her off at school. I've just come back. I've cleaned out the rabbit hutch because, as I was just talking about, she got a rabbit for her 6th birthday.
Yeah.
But all that means is that me or her mother has to clean out the hutch and clean up all the crap, basically. But
nightmare. You didn't
and
think
now I'm speaking to you. I'm going to make a cup of tea in a bit, I guess, and then I'll stick the computer on, do some emails, try and look at what's going on in Manchester and London. And
Cool. So you're in LA?
I'm in Venice Beach, Los Angeles, indeed, which sounds very fancy, but I guess, like anywhere you go, that famous John Kabat-Zinn. Do you know him, John Kabat-Zinn?
No.
You should check him out. He's an amazing kind of meditation guy, John Kabat-Zinn. He wrote a great book called Wherever You Go, There You Are. So although, Venice Beach is kind of a fab place to be, I'm still, Matt Ryan in Venice Beach. I've still got all kind of BS that goes on. But it's all good, the sun's shining, although today the sun is not shining.
Well, it's been off and on here. It's been pissing it down most of the day. But yeah, the sun's come out. That's why I'm like got loads of colour coming from that side through my window. I'm like, Jesus.
The kind of brightness is just because, there's a light on, I bet.
Just at the perfect time. So you're teaching yoga over there?
I am doing, yes. I've been teaching a Mysore program over in Culver City for around 18 months. I've just stopped doing that to focus on other things. So, fundamentally, I'm an Ashtanga teacher, and I guess what I like doing, like all kind of traditional Ashtanga teachers, is teaching the Mysore self-practice method.
Yeah.
I feel that's what I'm best at, or that's why I feel I've got most use for people.
And are you teaching that most mornings then?
I have been doing, yeah.
Yeah.
I've just kind of backed away from that for a few different reasons that I won't go into. But I've got a few irons in the fire, as I always have got, and I'm recharging the batteries. I've got a lot going on, as you said. I've got in Manchester. I'm trying to run Yoga Manchester, which is like a dozen classes in the south of Manchester, and deal with all that, and the teachers and things, and making sure all that goes tickety-boo. Yeah. And in the centre, we have Yoga Express, which is the short 45-minute classes.
Yeah. And
then down in London, I've got Yoga London Club, which is a little similar to Yoga Express. It's shorter classes, 45 and 60-minute classes, and it's kind of trying to make sure all that runs, smoothly.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about Yoga Manchester. What's your philosophy? What's the aim of it?
Liam, I don't know if you know my past. I used to, before I was into yoga, I was actually a DJ. I've always been into music of one description or other. In my teens, I was in bands and things, and then that moved into in the late 80s when the acid house boom happened in the UK and the world, I guess. Was, got into the house music, got into DJing. I swapped the guitar for decks, got some decks and started DJing, and DJed all over England and including the Hacienda. That was fun.
Yeah.
And I was doing some nightclub PR as well because I've always enjoyed kind of, my dad was in sales and marketing, and I think I've inherited some of his skills. So I've quite enjoyed that kind of, building things up, really. I took the same skills that I used for marketing and the nightclubs into yoga. So what happened is, I obviously, like a lot of people in nightclubs, live life like a bat. You live life to the full. There's lots of excesses there, I guess. And one of the bar stuff. So I got this extreme anxiety disorder called depersonalization, which I can go into if you like. And but it's very, very grim. It's as one person who suffers from it calls it hell on earth, which I can I can agree with. Anyway, so I got this thing called depersonalization, and I didn't know which way to turn. And one of the nightclubs I was working at, the bar staff, one of the bar ladies said, "Oh, you should do some yoga." And at that point, I'd tried homeopathy, I'd tried reflexology, I'd tried this, I'd tried that, antidepressants, Western medicines. I was trying anything. So at that point, I was ready. If someone said stick hot pins in your eyes, I'd have had a go at that.
Yeah.
And so she gave me a number of a guy who was teaching, a guy called Mike Nevitt, who was teaching yoga in Withington, in the old fire station, that's now a block of flats. And so I went along to a class. I mean, I've always been quite, I played football at school, and I always kept fit. I used to run a lot, and I went along to a class, hated it, thought I'd never go back. It's the first yoga class, right? I mean, it was Ashtanga yoga. I mean, at that point, I had no, inclination to what yoga was for a northern kind of shit kicker from Manchester. Yoga was like this kind of esoteric practice with old ladies in lycra in churches. What for me? But it was, went to that class. It was really hard work, and then I don't know what got me back there, but I got back, and slowly I kind of got it into the rhythm of it. And the thing, as you know, or with Ashtanga, it's a set sequence, and I started to learn the set sequence, and I started doing it at home. I'd go to a class and I'd do it 2 or 3 times a week. I'd stop running, and I really, literally, because I guess as much as anything, this disorder that I got, I mean, it's kind of anxiety based to some extent, and anxiety has to feed on energy, right? There needs to be energy.
Yeah.
Bodily energy for it to feed off, and if there's no energy there, it'll dissipate. A little bit. And I was finding with Ashtanga yoga, because it's quite full on, it's quite strenuous, it's strong, it's cardio of some description. I was finding the depersonalization was lessening, and it was becoming a little bit, a little bit more stable, I think.
Yeah.
And so literally I threw myself into it, and
Call mate.
I jumped literally straight into it. That within kind of 6-8 months, I think I'd as I say, hung up the headphones and jetted off to Mysore, which is where the practice came from, and went and studied with the masters. And
you went two-footed, really.
Pardon?
You went in two-footed, really, to it all.
I guess that's. I've always been like that. I mean, it's funny actually, because people who know me well, who've known me for a long time, know that I kind of dip in and dip out of things. And when I got into this yoga, all my kind of nightclub mates were like, Matt Ryan's got into this yoga thing. You'd be give 2 minutes to be into something else type of thing. And after a couple of years, 5 years, 10 years, they were like, wow, he's really sticking at this.
This one.
So when I got back from Mysore, I'd only been really practicing like over 12 months. And my plan was to open a studio in the city centre, Manchester. And I was going to get my brother-in-law to help me to finance it. Zoe's husband.
Zoe's husband, yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, the premises that we had fell through, so I was like, oh shit, I don't want to go back to nightclubs. What do we do? So I thought, sod it, I'm just going to set up a class. And so I used all my kind of nightclub skills. And at that point, this was pre-email, this was pre-internet, pre-any of that, pre-social media. It was still, your flyer, which was
that was God then.
Yeah, it was, and so I just used similar skills, and I went for it. And my first class, I had 76 people. I got 76 people just because I PR'd the hell out of it, and
Jesus.
Because I found this dance studio.
You work for me. Do the same with his podcast.
Anyway, so I guess I looked out. Do you know what I mean? This was when Madonna had just come out doing Ashtanga, Sting too. It was in the press. It was this new thing. I mean, so I just kind of hit it at the right time, I think. So there was a big interest. So that one class that I did nearly killed everybody because I was teaching, I didn't know how to teach yoga. I was just teaching them what I knew, which was primary series. And if you've never done any yoga before, doing sun salutation is hard work, let alone doing like the whole of the primary series. Anyway, really killed everybody. That one class turned into 2. And, pretty much that was kind of the starting point for Yoga Manchester. Because then, I built a website, and then we started classes in other areas, and,
And did you sort of kind of keep that level of attendance
Oh, God, no. Well, I mean, I think I must have put off at least 50-60% in that first class. They never came back. We could put them off yoga for life, I guess.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan ruined my yoga life. Anyway.
So had you found that the anxiety had sort of stopped?
I mean, so the thing is, the problem with depersonalization, it's basically it's a disorder that anybody and everyone has at some point in their life. It's you get it in times of great fear. It's reported that like students get it going into an exam. It's almost like an out of body experience, right, but not a pleasant one. It's kind of sense of unreality, kind of, and I guess maybe it's a new evolutionary thing that, perhaps when you're in the jungle, you're just going to get eaten by a lion, you get depersonalized, so it feels like it's not you.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But it's awful. But when you have the disorder, it's not momentary. It goes on and on and on and on. And it really is evil. And I can only describe it to like sticking your hand in a scalding bucket of water. Your instinct is to pull it out, and you're doing anything to pull it out. And I was running around. I was trying this drug, that method, this, that, right. And the problem is I was trying to find a magic bullet to make it go. And of course, there's no magic bullet. All I was doing was exacerbating the problem and making it worse. Because I was trying to find something that wasn't working. Oh, it's getting worse. Da, 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 da. And so with the yoga, it wasn't so much that it was a magic bullet. It just, as I mentioned before, it helped to kind of just lower the levels a little bit. And, I was starting to understand it a little bit more, So I was never kind of out of the woods, and I'm not out of the woods now. I just, after 20 plus years, we started, 20 plus years of it, you kind of learn to live with it.
So how do you feel about it in terms of like, it's obviously the thing that led you to yoga. So do you have a gratitude for it in a way, or?
Yeah, you have to in some ways. You can't regret anything. I can't regret, the nightclubs and all the drugs and everything else that, because, like you say, it's led me to this path, and here I am 20 years later, healthy, mostly happy.
Yeah.
So I guess, I guess you could say there's a gratitude for sure.
Yeah. So what was it like, how old was you when you went to India? Like late 20s?
30.
30? So you were 30-year-old Mancunian. Had you been anywhere like India before? Or?
Well, I'd just done the typical Manc holidays, been to Greece with my mates, Spain, this, that, and the other. I'd never been to anywhere as cosmic or as surreal as India was. And so it was like, I got there and literally within a week I wanted to come home.
Yeah.
And remember, I kind of really immersed myself in this culture. And so there was a lot of kind of, spiritual seekers in Mysore looking for something more, looking for something else, looking for the meaning of life, looking for enlightenment and all these things. And to me, I was just like a real fish out of water. I just wanted to sort my head out, basically.
Yeah.
I was finding this yoga thing was helping. So that's why I wanted to jump right in. And I was a little bit like, and every visit since going back, I've always been on the periphery of all the kind of, the scene, as it were. Even now, there's an Ashtanga scene that I've never really felt part of.
Yeah.
Another thing, actually, in fact, what happened when I'd go to Mysore, there was this holy man, a sadhu, a sadhu, and he was had a temple, Shiva temple, except the temple was in a cave, I kid you not, up Chamundi Hill. And someone told me about him. I thought, I'll go and check him out. And so I went and met him. And I'm still in touch with him now, Swamiji. And he used to be a journalist in Madras, in Chennai. And he kind of, renounced the world and went off to the Himalayas and, became a sadhu and and then he now became a priest at this literally cave. And what was at the cave? Sorry, we're digressing a little bit here.
That's cool.
I met this woman called Tracy, and Tracy was from New York. You
always find a Tracy in a cave, don't you? Always a Tracy in a cave. Tracy K. Anyway, Tracy from New York, she had been on Wall Street, made a few quid, but became very disillusioned, found herself in Mysore through Ashtanga, and, she wanted to do something different. And she, with Swamiji's advice and help, set up Operation Shanti,
which is a charity based still in Mysore, and they kind of feed and clothe the homeless, the poor, the needy, predominantly children and women. And so, because I became friendly with her, I just started to help her out. So every subsequent visit I went to Mysore, I would go to the charity and help her out, and I'd play football with the kids and stuff, and cricket and whatever. And I'd help her out.
It wasn't one of these Ashtangis that was just practice.
Oh, no, not at all, because I didn't, like I said, I never felt part of that.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to go and I'd sit in a cafe with headphones on and my hat down and a book so no one talked to me. But, this "how was your practice today" kind of rhetoric was just,
Yeah, so was that like Patabi Joyce sort of time? Was he still knocking about?
He was still teaching there. It was the first time I went was the old Shala. The old Shala was like 12 people max. So you'd be waiting 2 hours every day, literally, to get on your mat because it was that big. And I think the year after that's when they changed to the big Shala in Gokulam.
Yeah, because I've heard it's pretty intense there now. It's like just like a conveyor belt. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a whole scene now. I've not been back since 2014, where it's 5 years, and yeah, there's lots of politics going on in it. I've kind of really distanced myself from the whole thing. Really, I feel that I've immersed myself enough in Ashtanga yoga to feel I have enough to not feel to be connected to the Mysore bubble anymore.
So when you came back from there that first time, and you've been to India, probably not many people in Manchester have been to India or ever want to go to India. I know most of my mates would say it's not one place I'd never want to go, and I love it. But coming back with that kind of your new practice and opening a studio, what were all your DJ mates, saying? Did they think you'd lost the plot or?
Yeah, there was that. There was a lot of that, really. But I'd kind of not cut off from them. I mean, I guess I was still in touch a little bit, but not really so much because I'd really kind of, turned my life around or turned, what I was doing with my life around. So I wasn't going to bars. I wasn't going to nightclubs anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't buying records. I wasn't going to record shops. I wasn't in, the scene, the kind of the Manchester scene anymore. So I didn't really see anyone anymore. I was just going to yoga, doing these classes. And my son was born at that point, my first Eden, my son, so I was a father.
Yeah.
So I had, even without the yoga thing, I was now a young father, dealing with everything that goes with that.
So was more of your social thing coming around yoga then, the people that you were
speaking to? Yeah. I mean, I guess it was. I still kind of had some mates who were involved in music that I saw kind of now and again. And so that, and I was just, doing a lot of yoga, I guess, teaching a lot and reading a lot and,
So, and setting up Yoga Manchester at that time?
Yeah. And then,
So how did all that come about? Did you just sort of set up all these little satellite classes and then merge it together as...
Yeah, pretty much. The clever thing I've ever done was set up a website called Yoga Manchester because I thought those are the two keywords that someone's going to put into Google, right? Mm. So, and I guess it's changed slightly these days with what you call your website and stuff. But yeah, it, like you said, it was just a class in Cheadle, a class in Sale, a class in Eton Moor, a class in Chiltern, and it kind of made sense to put them all under the Yoga Manchester banner.
And at the start, were you teaching them all?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right.
We were like a studioless studio. And plus at that time, I guess, because I'd been to Mysore a bunch of times, like all the old school teachers like David Williams and David Swenson, I managed to reach out to them and I had that connection via Mysore. And I managed to, set up workshops with these teachers. So that's another kind of string to the Yoga Manchester bow was to, to host visiting, world-renowned.
Because you probably, out of everybody in Manchester, you probably get the biggest names, like the A-listers in sort of the yoga scene, really, that you get putting on workshops. How have you got someone like Keno McGregor and Tim Fieldman that you've got coming up?
I've been to Mysore, I've been to Mysore, and, I've established myself as, a senior Ashtangi, I guess, and, mean, it seems a little bit silly that, Ashtangas base their sense of worth on how flexible they are, but that's what's happened, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can do all the fancy postures. And people, I mean, I guess because I've always been fairly fit, a little bit flexible, I've had to work at that and strong, people say, how have you managed to be able to do all the advanced postures? And I say, well, get yourself a decent anxiety disorder and throw yourself into it. You'll soon nail them all, And it was a case of that. It was like I was really channeling my energy into this practice. It was like, I felt that, these sequences, these postures were creating this kind of this platform of stability for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to the question. So I just established myself, and I met people in Mysore, so I would just reach out to people. And I guess with my nightclub background or promoting famous DJs, I was now promoting famous yoga teachers. And yoga, as you say, yoga managed to become an established brand, for want of a better word. And we put on these workshops and managed to get people there.
Yeah, because some of them are you had David Svensson there last year, and it was so, how many people were in that room? Like 250?
Yeah, something like that.
It was mental in the temple, the Hindu temple in Manchester, in Chiltern Wally Range. Is it Chiltern Wally Range?
Wally Range, not Chiltern.
Wally Range. But that was just incredible for me to see that there was that amount of people in this area, because people were coming from all over the northwest, really, and probably a little bit further afield.
We've got people from we've got Keno next August, and we'll have people coming from all over the world, because the Manchester date is her only UK date next year. So
okay.
So
exciting. So what else have you got? What else have you got? Going on plug wise. Who have you got coming up? Teachers.
Keno's husband, Tim Feldman.
Yeah.
He's coming in. When is he coming? December this year, 7th and 8th, here for a Saturday and a Sunday workshop. And then next May, quite exciting, we've got the anatomy Leslie Kaminoff. That's his first workshop in Manchester. That's quite a big deal. I guess because I'm an Ashtanga teacher, I generally get Ashtanga teachers, but Leslie Kaminoff is obviously not. He's of the Diskachar lineage, but he establishes himself as a real anatomy guru. So that's quite exciting. And then obviously we've got the 3-day mega Ashtanga bank holiday bonanza next August with Keno.
Yeah.
And so that'll be amazing.
And where can everyone find out about them? Just on the Yoga Manchester website?
Yoga Manchester, yoga-manchester.co.uk.
Yeah. How much time at the moment do you spend on your mat? Do you have a daily practice?
So, while I was trying different things all those years ago, meditation was one of the things. I actually started meditation before I started yoga. I'd gone to the Buddhist center a couple of times, but I just found, it wasn't working. The depersonalization was so destabilizing. To try and just sit still was just too much like hard work. So I kind of, when I'd started the practice of Ashtanga, I put the meditation to one side, but I'd always had an interest in it of one shape or another. And maybe 10 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, I bought a book on Amazon, where else? And they have that, you like this book, you might like this one.
Yeah.
And this book called Hardcore Zen popped up. And, never judge a book by its cover, but I did. And I bought it.
Yeah.
And it was a book written by a guy called Browne, a Zen teacher. And it really blew me away that, I kind of could, it really spoke a lot to me. So much more than, the Yoga Sutras or the Bhagavad Gita, which I kind of had a passing interest, but only that interest was born out of, you're an Ashtanga teacher practitioner, you've got to read the sutras. It's kind of, it's a given. But, to be honest, I read the sutras and, just went in one ear and out the other. I just didn't connect with it at all. And the same with the Bhagavad Gita. I know people do, and that's all good. But for me personally, I didn't. And, when I'm reading this Hardcore Zen book, which is generally, it's a kind of a semi-autobiography about Brad's life and his Zen interests and how he got into it. And quite pragmatic, very down to earth, and it was like something that I could align myself, or you know what I mean. I could associate with some of the things that he was saying, and so I started practicing this Zen thing, the Zen meditation, Zazen, and so I started to incorporate that into my practice too.
Just from the book, or were you going to a teacher?
No, just from the book, really. Okay. And then, by hook or by crook, I got hold of him. I brought him across to Manchester. He did a workshop. We kind of became friends, and we're still friends to this day. He's done like a dozen other books or so. And, Zen became a big part of my life, really, a big part of my kind of, my contemplative life. So I'd have this asana practice, and I'd have this Zen meditation practice. And so that's, I've lessened my yoga asana practice these days. It's a time thing, Now I've got 4 kids and everything, and trying to find the time to do everything, So I won't do as much asana, but I'll still sit on the cushion every day. Yeah.
Do you do that when you get up, or is that just when as and when?
No, just during the day. Because when we get up, we're sorting out the chaos of the kids, breakfast time and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I only generally do that during the day.
And so with the meditation and then with the yoga, which one have you found did he complement each other, or does one have more?
You could say in some ways the yoga is a perfect prerequisite to a meditation practice for Westerners, because, I guess these days meditation is so much more in the public eye like yoga is. But it's still I think there's still a few people a little bit hold it at arm's length and a bit meditation, a bit esoteric, because it's hard to see. With yoga or physical postures, you do it, you start to see the benefits, because you become more flexible. You can see your toes and then you can touch them. Mm-hmm. But with meditation, it's far more subtle, and a couple of classes you could be thinking nothing's going on here. I'm not doing this. It's breathing, it's moving, and you're connecting the breath to the movement. You're linking, so it's in some ways it's a moving meditation, and you take that kind of focus on the breath from the mat onto the cushion. It's like you're still instead of moving, but you're still connecting to the breath for that type of meditation. And I guess you could say that the asana is a means to an end, the end being the meditation. It prepares you for meditation. Yeah. It allows your body to become flexible, to become stable, so you can sit still without worrying about backache, knee ache, ankle ache, fidgeting. You can sit nice and still because your asana practice has made you strong. And I guess, for me now, I'm doing the other way around. I actually sit first and then practice after. I find the meditation practice informs my asana practice. It kind of, makes my mind a little bit more still.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I've definitely got more, I guess, from the Zen practice.
Yeah. And do you think that maybe that's probably the reason why in the West we're kind of there's this obsession with asana, and there's almost most people think asana is yoga. They don't realise the rest of it. And do you think that's because we're in a results-based society, whereas in the East there's time for everything in a way?
I guess so. Absolutely. I mean, you can look at this. There's a great book called Yoga Body, which you should read sometime. Fascinating kind of insight into the origins of yoga.
Who's it by?
He calls it, there's yoga with a capital Y and a yoga with a little y. And I guess the yoga that we're all doing in the West is a little y. It's, it's the same word but has different meanings.
Yeah.
The capital Y is, the one of the 6 schools of Indian thought. I always remember there's a great story by David Swenson, and I relay this to everybody. I say, he when he was in his teens, he went off around the world. He got into spirituality. He went to explore, trying to find the practices, the spiritual practices and the people. He went all around the world, and he came back and he realised the most spiritual people he knew were his own parents who'd never done a day's yoga in their life.
Yeah.
So I think people need to wind their necks in a little bit.
Yeah, no, totally.
Fundamentally, I think fundamentally this is my kind of ethos, my philosophy. The only thing spiritual about yoga postures is the person doing it. Yeah. We're born spiritual beings, of whatever that means to the individual. And I guess if there was one teaching that I got, among other things, of teaching people how to do anything, kind of my own philosophy is, as spiritual beings or as humans, we all have the responsibility to ourselves. We all have the responsibility to ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. And to find the right set of practices to make that happen. And that might be tennis, it might be running, it might be yoga, it might be meditation. I found for me that this kind of Ashtanga practice and the Zen practice, is working for me. But we're all, on a journey to find, what works for an individual. And it's good to listen to teachers, and get advice. But I think it's time for everyone to start taking some sense of responsibility back. Doing away with the kind of this idea of the guru, which I think is an outdated idea at best these days, especially with all kind of the scandal that's gone around it. It's, with the Zen thing, I was quite fortunate that the kind of the Zen method, you try and give your responsibility. Oh, please tell me what to do. Please, please tell me how to live my life. You say that to a Zen teacher and they'll back you away. They're like, take some responsibility for yourself. They don't allow that type of things to happen. Mm-hmm. Whereas the kind of, I guess in the yoga world, that's been used and abused type of thing, because people want to give their responsibility away. And there's people who want to, lap that up and have that sense of power and kind of,
Yeah, because the people who want the power can only take it off the people who are willing to give it to them. You know what I mean? So is that, and that's what you're saying about the responsibility. You've got to take responsibility for handing your power off over as a male, as a female.
Another thing, I don't like to use cosmic words like guru and energy and things. I'm a shit kicker from Manchester after all. But, if there's anything that I think, as a teacher, my responsibility is to awaken the guru or awaken the energy inside the student.
Yeah.
Not for them to turn that around and put me on any kind of a pedestal. Don't let that happen. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in making, to help them the best version of themselves. That's it.
Facilitate like small awakenings in individuals so that they can go away and change their life in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Or even just think about things differently.
People say to me, is yoga a spiritual practice? And I'm like, I've no idea. But, I guess spirituality means different things to different people. And I guess a real kind of basic understanding of a spirituality, in one sense, is whether this is morals or spirituality, maybe they're intertwined. But, I want to do good. I want to be good. When I'm doing yoga and when I'm meditating, it makes me feel good. And if I'm feeling good, I'm doing good. I'm a better person to other people. Yeah. I'm a better person to be around. There's a great Brad Warner, the Zen guy I was talked about before. He, one of his students, there's a bodhisattva is one. A bodhisattva is a student of the Buddha, and there's the bodhisattva's vows, and one of the bodhisattva's vows is, I vow to save all beings. Yeah. I vow to save all beings, and that's one of the vows you take as a bodhisattva. And one of Brad Warner's students changed that a little and turned it into, I vow to save all beings from myself. He added those two words at the end, from myself, and I love that. I think that, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to save, that person, this person from my bullshit.
Yeah. And was that one of the main reasons, like, you thought, I want to teach yoga, is because I want to, if people are struggling like you were, I want people to feel that goodness that you'd started feeling from the practice. Was that what was driving you, or was it something else driving you to teach?
I'll be honest with you. When I got from Indian, the studio premises fell through, and it was a kind of sink or swim, mate. I had a son at that point, I needed to get food on the table. And so from that kind of, perspective, that the teaching happened because it had to.
Yeah.
I guess I grew into the role of being a teacher and understanding how it helped me and how I could help other people. I think, I was talking about this with someone else the other day. I'm a decent bloke. I like helping people any which way I can. And I guess, cards have been dealt for me in this life that I'm using this practice to help other people, really. That's it.
Amazing. You're doing a great job of it, mate. And you're connecting to a hell of a lot of people through all your teachers as well. So hats off to you in that respect. But just if you could say somebody's listening to this now who is where you were before you'd found yoga, like, where's a couple of, like, you know, that thing that you'll never forget that you're like, Jesus, that changed how I behave a lot. I know I've had a few of them, you know, little things that someone said and I've gone, and it's changed my whole life, you know, from that point, and I'll never forget them. Have you got any of them, like, distinct moments that you can remember?
Whether there's moments, I'm not sure. I guess there's been shifts in me that have happened over a period of time rather than something that's...
It's been more like a gradual...
Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't, anybody who's kind of, down on their luck, or, what would I recommend? Going back to the idea that the anxiety thing fed on energy, a great way to get out of the mind is into the body, so get yourself a body practice, go running, go swimming, go playing tennis, do yoga, try all these things, find out what works, you know what I mean? Not only is it a great way, keeping you fit and healthy, but it's going to help get you out of your mind, out of your head, into, get you into body, ground you a little bit more, and I don't think, like I said before, we should have this elitism. I got accused the other day of, I can't remember it now, but something like, it's a privilege to teach yoga. And I kind of thought of that, but it's a privilege to be alive. Yeah, in a Western society, we could have been born, in the 1800s. We could have been born in war-torn Syria. Do you know what I mean? We have the very good fortune and privilege of being born through these lives. That's just amazing. Everything else is bloody gravy, right? You know what I mean? We should just be getting on our knees and praying and thanking whoever we want to thank, that we're just alive today in a part of the world that's thriving. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And posting letters can be spiritual. Yeah. Being a bin man can be spiritual. You know what I mean? We don't have to be, put ourselves on a pedestal, because, predominantly what a lot of teachers are teaching is just asana, which is great. Do you know what I mean? And if people get something from the scriptures, great. I mean, I don't teach them because I didn't get anything from them. It'd be dishonest of me to start saying, read the sutras, read the Gita, read the Upanishads. You know what I mean? It kind of didn't really mean much to me. I couldn't connect to it at all, And when I read Brad's book, there was this real connection, this real sense of, oh, yeah, I get that. I feel that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's, that's where
that's what each individual's got to find, really, is their own little thing. It's like, that's what I say to people in my classes. It's like, just go and try different things. Wait till that thing resonates with you. I can't tell you. I can give you things to go and try, but I can't tell you what's going to work for you because I don't know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, you can't. Well, that's it. It's giving them the sense of purpose, the responsibility through a sense of purpose. For some people, the weight of the responsibility is too much, but you kind of you can reword that as giving them a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what's the difference like in the? Might sound like a wanky question. What's the difference in the scene between, like, in the yoga scene between here and in LA? Is it a vast difference, or is it quite similar?
Again, I've only been around the kind of this traditional Mysore thing. I mean, I don't go to classes. I don't go to yoga studios and do vinyasa.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing. So I've only been around that kind of specific kind of Mysore crowd. And I guess it's, what way it's different, I'm not sure. It seems to be I would say, people are more dedicated. I guess because of the weather, helped. Do you know what I mean? The Mysore thing is an early morning thing, right? And so two things. You get people out of bed at 6 o'clock in Manchester, like knocking your head against the wall. It's because it's hard work, right? It's wet, it's dark, it's horrible, it's cold. you know, and those are the good days. You know, in LA, sun's shining. You know, as soon as you wake up, it's like you kind of feel, you know, to go out and do yoga is easy. You know. So I guess there's that. You know, there's mitigating factors why it's different, weather being a big part of it.
Cool. And what's your plan with Yoga Manchester now? Where are you? Is it being developed? Or are you quite happy with how it is at the moment?
Well, it's what's happening is you'll know yourself. In the last kind of 5 to 10 years, it's been a real boom in yoga. Right, it's gone up a step. There's more teachers. There's more yoga classes. You know. So I guess for me, it's just keep on keeping on. I want to try and do more workshops, get teachers from different yoga disciplines rather than just purely Ashtanga, you know, do more of those. And and just keep it ticking along, you know. I totally get, you know, it's in that book that I wrote, you know, that as a beginner, the first thing on the top of your list while you're going to a yoga class is it's like, you know, it's the convenience factor.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the road, is it, you know, at a time and a day and a date that I can go to, you know what I mean? You know, that's the kind of, you know, in my experience, that those things are quite important. And then, you know, second on the list of that is, do they like the teacher or not? You know, that's why it's really important. As a teacher, you need to be quite personable and open to anybody and everybody, all kinds of personalities. We've got to be, you know, and, you know, because you've been the best yoga teacher in the world, but that people don't like you, not coming back.
Exactly.
You know, we've got this convenience factor, you know, day, date, location, that's convenient, parking. Then they've got, do you like the teacher or not? And then down here somewhere is your particular yoga that you're teaching. I mean, I guess there'll be one or two people, probably more than that, who are looking for a specific style of yoga. But, you know, the majority of beginners, and this has always been kind of an ethos of mine when I come to marketing, to PRing, is, you know, the largest body of people to appeal to is not specifically yoga people. Because they're going to be actively looking for you anyway, yeah? The largest body of people is people who've not done yoga. You've got to find methods and tools, a way of bringing those people in. They know about yoga because yoga's everywhere. It's in the papers, it's on the telly, it's on the radio. All the famous people who instantly know about it, but you've got to find there's something, the X factor, to get that person to come for the first time. You know what I mean? You don't need to do flyers with namaste and all the rest of it and fancy yoga postures. That's going to put people who haven't done yoga off. That you know, people who do yoga will lap that up, but we don't need to really appeal to them, really, because they're going to be actively there on the internet looking for yoga things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So your book, how long ago did you write your book?
Yeah, it's completely outdated now because it kind of...
Is it before the internet thing?
Pretty much. I mean, it's what was happening. There was no real social media explosion. I mean, I could rewrite it and add in social media, but not at the time now, really.
So what's the biggest thing then for you as a business? Like, is it email marketing? Is that what you kind of... Is it reading that list?
Going back to nightclub days, it was all about your flyer, you know, because you go into a bar or a shop and there'd be a table full of flyers all trying to, you know, shout out, come to my club, come to my da-da-da. So you'd have to find unusual pictures or things, you know, to catch people's eye. And I've always took that idea into doing yoga flyers. I don't know if you've seen any of mine, like the famous Banksy image of the guy throwing the flowers.
Yeah.
You know, I got my brother-in-law to redo it, and he's now doing Virabhadrasana.
Yeah.
You saw, you know, you see the Banksy image and make that connection, you know, and people, things like that, people kind of catches people's eye. I also did the, you know, the Nike, just do it, so the Nike tick, this swoosh, whatever. I got a friend of mine to redraw it, a person doing a yoga posture. So it was like, yoga, just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And repurposing, you know, all the people's ideas, basically.
Images that people have already got in their head, though.
Yeah. It was almost like the yoga just do it was, you know, cleverer than I actually planned on it being, because it was almost a call to action. You know what I mean? because people knew, yoga, right, yeah, just do it. You know, it was a beginner's class type of thing.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, you can still do those type of things, and you know, you can still put images and stuff on your Facebook and your Instagram and your Twitter and that. But it's such a noisy space these days. You know, it's everybody's doing the same kind of thing, and you know, the Facebook algorithms change all the time. So you're now forced to do Facebook ads, of course.
Yeah.
So you know, that's it seems to be the way forward. So yeah.
But for your teachers, like, you've always found that it's the teachers that are the most personable, approachable, that are the most successful for your business then?
I think so, yeah. I mean, that's a really big part of it for me. You know what I mean? And it's kind of, you know, having that sense of personability, of customer relationship, you know, that kind of thing. Which I think is really important. Being able to treat the person as an individual, make them welcome. You know, I would always like, you know, at the end of the class, see you next week, thanks for coming, you know what I mean? You know, make them feel good.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely felt it. It wasn't kind of a sales script. It was, I genuinely felt that, you know, I wanted them to feel good, that they were going to come back. So one of the cleverest ideas I had, which is still useful these days, I was, the first year of teaching, I'd changed from one venue to the next. And I was going around all the shops, leaving flyers, and that's what I would do. It's all in the book. People should read the book because it is some good stuff in there. You know, I was going around all the shops, leaving little piles of flyers, even shops that wouldn't. So all the shops, I would take a pile of flyers in, and I'd also go in and say, "Thanks for leaving some flyers. Here's a couple of free passes to the next class." And even like the solicitors, there's no place to put flyers. I would go in and say, "Listen, I'm doing the yoga class. Here's some free classes. Come along." You know what I mean? Because, you know, you pick up one or two people like that. And I came out of one shop and I literally tripped up over the A-board outside, and boom, light bulb moment, on an A-board. And the hall that I was renting at the time was next to the doctors on Eatonmore Road and 50 yards away from Eaton Chapel train station. So within a week, I'd had this A-board out. And there's the really genius idea, which I give to my father. He came up with it. Is sticking a little bag of flyers on the A-board. People go past to see yoga, boom, flyer. I love that kind of thing. Yeah. And that is you still use that today. You know, you get people like to have stuff in their hands as opposed to virtual stuff on Facebook and all the rest of it. People like things in their hands, and it's a good reminder. You know, goes in the bag and etc.
Goes on the table at home and gets
goes on the bed, goes wherever. You know what I mean? And if you've got a nice little image on there, your yoga just do it. Your Banksy thing.
Yeah.
People do that kind of stuff, like that. Well, a lot of people do.
Yeah. Awesome. So, like on a daily basis, what challenges you most in your practice on how you react to people or your kids?
Without a shadow of doubt, I've got a 2-year-old son, ridiculously called Easy because he's anything but easy. He's 2, when he's 3 in November, and then Boo, she's just turned 6. So I've got 2 kids out here with me, with my wife Lena, and then back in England I have Eden, who's just turned 19, went to Leeds University, and then I've got another daughter. She has a different mother, 4 kids, 3 mothers. Lila, she is 12. She started second year in whatever year 8. Is it 7? Anyway, yeah. So dealing with the kids over here really. Because it's, turned 50 this year, and, it's getting harder and harder. All my mates are similar age. I've got kids growing up, but like going on like city breaks with their wives, and there's me changing bloody nappies.
You've gone again.
Oh, it's like, Anyway, I mean, it's fun and games. It's very challenging, though. It is really challenging.
So what does it do? What challenge, like, just on how you react, or just because it's hard work?
It's a patience thing, and you've got to be one of the best methods of dealing with nippers, with toddlers, is distraction. Because they're kicking off about something, you've got to distract them over here. What about this over here? But to be able to keep doing that, you've got to have a lot of energy. Do you know what I mean? When you've got that energy, you can just, all of a sudden, like, and it's tough, man. It's tough. It would be remiss of me not to mention this Arbonne thing that I've just started doing.
What's that?
So Arbonne is a Swiss company, and they deal in kind of gluten-free, vegan. I'll talk to you about this outside of the podcast, actually. And they do skincare and makeup and vitamins and detoxes and things. And my wife has been using the skincare for ages. Like I said, it's vegan, gluten-free, it's cruelty-free too. And this company's been going for 40 years. And the guy who kind of designs all the stuff has got like a million patents after his name for using natural substances. Anyway, so my wife has been using the products for ages now, face products and stuff, skincare. And she got this weird skin rash. And she went to a doctor and, usual, don't know what it is, there's some steroid cream type thing. And none of it worked.
Yeah.
And a friend of hers had said, the R-Bond stuff we do, they do a detox, you should try it, this 30-day detox thing. And I'm shitting you not, she did it and it went.
Right. What was the detox? Was it juices or?
It's kind of juices. You get a whole kind of package of powders and vitamins and detox teas. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I mean, like for me as well, because she was doing it, we did it together. I kind of when I got to 50, it was getting harder and harder to do the asana practice. I just kind of I had this mindset, well, I'm 50 now, it's going to get harder, I'm not going to be doing it as much, I'm just tired all the time with the young kids and da-da-da. And, I did this detox, I'm like, oh, right, I've actually got energy again, do you know what I mean? And there's some fascinating things that I found out recently, like, the serotonin of the body is in the gut, you know what I mean? So you're cleansing your gut, so you've got good levels of serotonin going through your bloodstream, and it's.
So how does it work then? You do your initial 30-day detox, you've got all these powders, and then what do you do to carry it on? What's the?
You can do it like once every 3 months or once every 6 months or however. And we've just gone straight into a second month because we loved it that much.
Okay.
Well, Lena's mum is like mid-60s now. She's got arthritis. She's got this, got that. After a couple of weeks, she started the detox. A couple of weeks, she was like, oh, nothing's happening. And yesterday, she got a text message from her mum, like going into explicit detail of how much energy she's got, the arthritis was gone. Lena was reading this, and it's quite an emotional person anyway, but she was reading it crying her eyes out because she was so happy because her mum's like, been in a bit of a bad way for one reason or another, and this detox had really helped. So, I mean, there's some amazing cases that this particular detox thing sounds like a big sales speech, but it's not.
No, it's cool because you've got a personal story attached to it, and again, we'll put put a link on the show notes to it anyway.
Yeah, if anyone wants to know about it, it is and does change people's lives.
Yeah,
I mean, and I've seen it happen in real time with Lena. Do you know what I mean? The skin rash is gone. Do you know what I mean? She's, we both have more energy, which is great, especially with the bloody kids.
Is that just sustained now then?
Well, you kind of get in, you learn new disciplines and new eating habits. It's not a diet, it's a detox. With certain foods that you're not allowed to eat, so everything works.
Yeah.
You just maintain that level of health, and you can, like I say, you can do it as often as. In fact, we found out yesterday that Will Smith does it.
Right.
Good enough for Will Smith. It's good enough for me.
Is he a neighbour? Is it?
No, we just found out through social media, I think. They had sent me pics, this picture of him doing the deep. He's like, that's good. Like I say, people just take some responsibility, try different things, try and be the best version of yourself. Life is tough, man. Life is tough, but, it doesn't, you can embrace it. I love there's a teacher called Stephen Batchelor, another Buddhist guy. Great he is, actually. And he says life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived.
Yeah.
He's also every trying to solve something, get somewhere. It's, just get on with just enjoying the fucking mystery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing, though, isn't it? It's like a lot of us, you must have been as a DJ as well. Like that lifestyle, was there not like a massive fear thing of letting go of it? Because I think that's the biggest challenge for a lot of people is how do I let go of this life that I'm so attached to?
I had the depersonalization, which was forcing me into making changes.
Right. Okay.
Carried on. Do you know what I mean? That forced me to stop because my head had popped pretty much. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, oh, what's going on here? You know what I mean? So that, in some ways, I guess I was lucky that I had to stop. I had to make changes that were forced upon me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was the same. I couldn't physically do it anymore. I was struggling every time I went out. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? There must be something better to my life than this. And that's what kind of just forced me, and then getting into depression and just being anxious all the time and like feeling uncomfortable in my own skin. And then it was like, well, I can't do this. Like I want to carry it on because it kind of was fun. Do you know what I mean? And then it became not fun. But what I find with especially in Manchester, like a lot of the old Hacienda heads that I know and see knocking about, it's like they're still trying to chase that. Yeah. What was happening?
Baby. I tell you what, it's funny. You know, when I did the starting show 20 years ago, you know, all my mates taking the piss at me and that. And now, do you know what I mean? A lot of them, not a lot of them, but certainly a good portion of them are like knocking on my door saying, no, you know, this yoga, what is it? You know what I mean? They're trying to, do you want to know about it now? Like, okay.
Oh, the head's a bit clearer.
Or they're not clear and they need to get it clear and thinking, you know what I mean? You know, going out and getting off your head at 50 plus is not a good look, is it, really?
No, it's definitely not.
I also like the metaphor of the, what's a heart monitor called? Cardiograph. Learned this one a long time ago. You know what a cardiograph is? It monitors your heart.
Yeah.
If you've got that, what's that?
Flatlining.
Flatline, which means...
You're dead.
Yeah, what's that?
Your
heart's beating. You're alive. It's up, it's down. It's up, it's down. Practice is up, practice is down. Life is up, life is down.
Yeah.
They're not opposites, they're just two sides of the same coin. It means you're alive. Life is up, life is good, life is down, life is shit. And it's just life, you know. We just get on with it. You know, a Stephen Batchelor quote again, the first noble truth, apparently the Buddha's first noble truth that we understand it is life is suffering, or there is suffering. And Stephen Batchelor reinterpreted that as shit happens. Shit happens. Bad stuff happens. Shit happens, man. And we're just, you know, we're never going to get away from that fact. There's no
leads to a good thing. A good thing leads to a bad thing. It's like not thinking that things are unfortunate when actually there's something fortunate about them coming around the corner. So
it's hard to think that sometimes. You know what I mean? Certainly, you know, when I was in the eye of the storm and the depersonalization thing and spending I spent 3 days in Stepping Hill Psychiatry Department for observation, and it was like, you know, possibly the worst 3 days of my life, you know. But it's, you know, it's right. Things, you know, at that time, you know.
But when you're in it, you can't see anything. You think you're going to be stuck there forever, but everything changes. Like you said, up and down. So it's just trying to be able to go through that up and down like that.
But that's what my practice is all about, It's times, you know, but understanding sometimes that is up and down too. You know, and, you know, if you ever came to a football match with me, I always say this, if anyone saw me at a football match, they'd never come to any of my classes again. Because I'm a raving, shouting, swearing lunatic. But, you know, that's just part of who I am. I can't really change that. I'm not going to change it. You know.
Yeah. What have we got coming up?
Tim Feldman in December. And Leslie Kaminoff in May next year. Keno McGregor in May next year. And
awesome.
The year after.
Cool. And then just weekly, what's the schedule? How many classes a week do you have on?
You know, we have Monday, we've got classes in Fallowfield, in Sale, in the city centre, Tuesday, Cheadle, Wednesday, Didsbury, Thursday, Altrincham, Withington, Saturday morning, Heaton, Mersey, Sunday, Chorlton, and then Yoga Express, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the city centre.
So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, Yoga London, there's nobody in, going to be, well, classes... Yoga for everybody every day is our strapline.
Yeah, and you obviously in all this chaos from LA, HQ's in LA.
Like, you know what I mean? I'll go on the internet, and because we're 8 hours behind, I'll have like a bunch of emails from angry students. This is predominantly London more than anything else, saying, I've turned up to class today and the teacher wasn't there. And I'll get into touch with the teacher, and it's like, oh, I've got someone covering my class, and the person who's covering the class forgot to turn up. And you kind of, having to deal with the fallout of that. It's like, things to do with me time, I have to deal with that. And it's like the minutiae of this. People don't kind of appreciate the kind of the nitty gritty of trying to do all this.
Yeah.
Ryan's in LA, look, he bastard is living life, and and half the time I'm stuck behind this computer trying to fathom, suss out things like, people not turning up because they forgot.
Organising your business.
Trying to, yeah.
Lots of amazing guests coming up, so hopefully all the listeners are just going to get something to enrich them by, because we're just looking at these stories of transformation. People can implement little bits of wisdom into their life to just, like you said, becoming the best version of themselves. That's what I'm trying to put out on this podcast, and hopefully people are getting enriched by it. So thank you, I appreciate it.
I hope so.
Really enjoyed having a conversation with you, mate. Right, mate.
I'll see you later.
Yeah, peace, man. Take it easy. Have a good day. Ta-ra. Bye. Hope you liked that little conversation I had with Matt Ryan. It was really beautiful. It was really informative to see his journey and to see his tips and guidance on things that we should be doing and improving, and just getting a taster of someone who's been a DJ in the Hacienda, been a DJ all over the place, and has been forced, what some of us would say, forced spiritually, to make some positive changes. And he found this Ashtanga yoga. It changed his life, got rid of his illness, and he's been able to pass that gift on to so many people all over the world, and especially in Manchester. That gift that he's given so many people. I know the first time that they did yoga was with Matt Ryan, so incredible for passing on that gift, for passing on that knowledge, and for passing on the practice. So Matt, thank you so much just for everything that you've done over the years, and thanks for being a guest on the Dealer to Healer podcast. DJ to Healer, DJ to Yoga teacher. Just another great story of transformation. You can find out all about Matt's company Yoga Manchester on their website. Just go to yogamanchester.co.uk. They've got a Facebook page, Instagram page, all that. So back to you people. If you've not listened to the previous episodes, go and have another listen to them. Stuart Pilkinson, another amazing male role model, beautiful man, beautiful conversation. Win Carter, overcoming adversity, overcoming illness for 20 years, just smashing it out of the park when it comes to staying positive, keeping that positive mental attitude. So these little bits of inspiration in all those conversations, and they're really inspiring people. So I just feel really blessed to have them on my show. This show's going to keep going. We've got amazing guests coming up. We've got Gina Swire on the next one. We've got Greg Garrett. We've got the Ayahuasquero, the Cambo man, Lewis Powell. Oh my God, what a conversation that was. That was cosmic. Loved it. But yes, all beautiful conversations. So keep listening. And the Dealer to Healer book, get yourself over to Amazon. You've got 5 days to get it for free. So get yourself over there. Write me a review if you get it free. That'd be awesome. The book's all about my transformation, all about overcoming adversity, stepping into your light, going through depression, coming out the other side, all the little character defects we have to overcome to step into our power. It's all in there. There's lots of inspiration, lots of just come on, just get on with it. Get yourself right. Get yourself being the best version of yourself. Do what you need to do. Let go of social conditioning. Let go of the conditioning of your friends and the people around you. Step away from people that aren't serving you and step into people that are loving. Find your tribe. Yes, find your tribe. That's what it's all about. Find people that you resonate with, that are on the same frequency as you. Yes, Amazon. You can get my book on audiobook, on Kindle. So guys, have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for listening. Lots of love. Peace. Need you to bless my soul. Thank you so much for listening to the Dealer to Healer podcast. Please stay tuned for more episodes of transformation, of metamorphosis, of people becoming the most beautiful version of themselves and teaching you, the listeners, how to become the most beautiful version of yourself. So if you want all that information, all that knowledge, all these amazing guests that I've got on my show, please subscribe. There's a subscribe button somewhere on this screen, so please just link onto that. You'll get a notification straight away of any new episodes, and I promise you I've got epic guests coming up, so please stay tuned. If you want to know anything else about the Dealer to Healer movement, of what I've got going on, about my links to the book, links to my website, links to my music, everything, please go in the description below. It's just down there somewhere. You just hit description and everything, it'll tell you everything. So nice one, have a beautiful day, take it easy, and remember, please subscribe, that would be amazing. Peace.